Welcome. Hi, my name is Diana Brandt. I am a photographer explorer based in Seattle, and this is going to be my January favorites. This is going to be a lot of things that I've been loving into that I just want to share with you guys. This video is going to be some products, books, movies, and just some other random stuff. So first, let's start off with some products. I have to share with you my favorite Christmas candle that I burned through December and finished up in January. This is the Bath & Body Works Perfect Christmas Candle. This has notes of clementine, clove, I think there's cedar in it. This was just intoxicating and it really channeled this idea of Christmas. I had done a Christmas candle haul at the beginning of December to stock up on some winter candles, and this was by far my favorite out of the bunch. I love how bright and citrusy that clementine is. I always forget that clementine is kind of like a winter scent, so it's very refreshing when you're in winter time to have something so bright. And the woodsy notes were super warming and cozy. Oh, I just fell in love with this candle. I'll definitely be getting this next year as well. Oh, it's gonna be so hard to say goodbye. I have two skincare products that I've really been enjoying throughout this month. Firstly being the Perlice Pumpkin and Ginger Detoxifying Charcoal Mask. This one was fantastic. I really need to get in a better habit of wearing mud masks since I am slightly acne prone, especially in this area. And this really helped clear up some spots. I think the pumpkin and ginger really go well with my skin, and I really enjoyed just how slightly brightening it was and how it just kind of cleaned out all of that like oil and gunk in my face. And I might get this again. I've really liked everything I've tried from Perlice, but if you have any mud mask recommendations, I'd love to hear them down below so I can check them out. Next, TikTok got me onto this, and that is slugging, which is the act of going to bed with a lot of hydrating, thick, seal it in moisturizer on, whether that be like an Aquaphor or Vaseline. Previously I was using oils, but I actually found I noticed a big difference in the little fine lines that I have and with my redness using Aquaphor and slugging. I like Aquaphor because this was just the one that I had, and I like that it came in a squeezy tube. I do want to try and start putting this on a little bit earlier before bed because I don't like going to bed and then laying on the pillow and just feeling like I'm stuck to it. But I really did notice such an improvement in my skin tone and the plumpness. So definitely getting into slugging. We'll see if that continues into the warmer months, but right now I'm loving slugging and Aquaphor specifically. Last product we have is a little bit of fashion. I'm a little embarrassed because they're a little dirty. I do need to give them a good clean, but just white sneaker in general. These I got off of Amazon. They're super comfy. A lot of my other sneakers were hurting my feet, so I'm glad I got something with a little more of padding, but just a plain white sneaker I feel like has really boosted up my fashion game, especially when working out, going on walks. On days where I am doing like a lot of walking or lifting, or you know, where I'm wearing leggings instead of like a dress, wearing white sneakers I feel like just elevates my look. And I know this is probably the secret that everybody has known. These are super popular and trendy, and they have been for a while. It's a complete staple. But I'm just not really a sneaker person, and this has made me a sneaker person, and I just feel so much more elevated when I wear these with leggings. I feel bright and stylish and chic. Yeah, I've really just been loving white sneakers. I'd love to know your tips though about the best way to clean them. I've gotten good at cleaning them a little bit, but I think I could do better. Since it was January and it was the colder, darker months, I felt like I was inside a little bit more, and I watched a bunch of movies. So I want to go ahead and tell you some of the ones I really enjoyed this month. First, we're going to talk about Raw. This is a brutal, visceral, grotesque French movie about a vegetarian that goes to veterinarian school and starts eating people. I found it very compelling, and I enjoyed just the brutality of it, and I felt really sucked into this tiny college world that they were a part of, and of course the French language is just beautiful to listen to. I don't get scared easily. We'll talk about a couple more scary movies, but I like gross movies, and this was a gross movie. So definitely be warned, there's cannibalism in it. But I just loved the brutality. I wish I could articulate that better, but I just loved how visceral and brutal it was. There's also a lot of metaphor in the film. There can be a lot of things to be said about expectations, family competition, competition in general, things about diet, purity. There's a lot of themes in it as well. It's not just this gory movie. There's a lot of, you know, metaphor and theme that can be pulled from it as well. And I felt like I was thinking about the film after I watched it, kind of piecing together all these different ideas that were woven through its plot. The next one that I watched was Hold the Dark. This is a Netflix original. This is about a boy who goes missing in the Alaskan wilderness, and his mother reaches out to a famous novelist, studier of wolves, to try and track him down. And the plot goes a lot more than just that, which I found very exciting. It wasn't just trying to find the child. Again, another movie that just felt very violent and brutal. There's also something just really nice about watching a kind of spooky movie set in a really cold, wintry place that's dark and in a cabin, and it just kind of gave me those nice spooky winter vibes that I liked. I found the characters very enjoyable. I found this manhunt idea in the beautiful Alaskan wilderness very entertaining. Next was The Empty Man. This is a beautifully shot film. You can see that there was just so much money poured into this film. The cinematography, the color grading, the sound design. I was living for the sound design. So this movie is about, it's a boogeyman story. Oh, I don't want to even like give it away. It's such like a weird film. There are a lot of different things with the pacing, the plot, that I really enjoyed just how weird it was. This is this director's debut, and I would love to see more things from this director. The idea of this like boogeyman is not like my favorite type of story, you know, trying to find the spooky man, but I just found it gorgeous to look at, and you can just see all of the money and time and editing that went into it. If you like weirder movies that are a different pace, you want to see something that is gorgeous, and you want something that has a lot of dialogue that talks about, the ending is told to you and the ending is a thinker. And if you like this style of, you know, I'm really just trying not to give it away. Like I feel like I cannot talk about this film without giving away a lot of details, and I prefer to go into a movie nearly as blind as possible. But just from like a film creation standpoint, just a lovely movie. All right, getting away from horror, and we'll talk about another just expensive movie. I kept seeing on TikTok all of the "We Don't Talk About Bruno" TikToks. I said, okay, I'm gonna watch Encato, and my goodness, you can just see the detail in this computer animation. The colors are super bright and fun, and the animation is fluid. There's one scene where the girl's hair like slinks off of a thing and it's super silky hair. There's sand particles. The yarn looks realistic. It's just crazy, the detail and realism in this 3D animation cartoon. And of course the music is super catchy, and it was nice to just see a movie about family and I don't know, just something kind of a little bit different, but I really just can't get over how beautiful it was. I feel like I was blown away by the visuals constantly. Lots of big color, huge, you know, dance sequences and transformation, and just another beautiful film. And you can see why it's a $200 million film by just like the detail. And of course the songs and performances are also really great as well. Talking about musicals, I've been wanting to watch Chicago for the longest time, and it was so funny. I think I watched this the day after New Year's, and I went to a 1920s themed New Year's Eve party, and then this was the jazz era, and I loved the costume. I loved the you know, the little plot of it. Would I say the music was my favorite? No, I can't really think of, I don't have any like earwormy songs. I did love Roxy's song though a lot, but I loved the actual like plot of it, the set design, the time period that it was a part of, and I liked the jazzy sound of it, but yeah, I wouldn't say that any of the songs were a super earworm. And this was the 2002 movie that I watched, which I've heard people like the film more than they like the musical, but that's not for me to decide because I haven't seen the musical. It feels nice again to see a movie musical that I felt like was just on my like to watch list for the longest time. All right, let's talk about books. My goal for each month this year is to read at least one nonfiction and one fiction book, and I think I surpassed that. First, starting off with nonfiction, I read Bringing Up Bebe. I loved this book. I found it super inspiring and hopeful as somebody that wants to be a future parent in the next few years. This book isn't about an American writer who moves to France, to Paris specifically, and raises her children in Paris, and talks about just the differences in parenting mindset and resources when bringing up children in France versus what she has experienced and seen in the Americas. And I just found it so inspiring because I do feel that in America, culturally, the woman is to sacrifice their life for their children, and they're no longer who they were before they had children. Now they are mother, and they are always mother, and they need to bend over backwards, and everything is for your child. And I felt it very inspiring, this idea of structure, identity, that it's okay, you don't need to give all of yourself to be a mother. You can still have your hobbies, you can send your kid to daycare and go back to work and do the things that you want. There's balance. I felt like that was such like a big part of French parenting that I felt very inspired by, was the balance. And there was also some practical things about sleep and food and behavior, and I found it very interesting. And I probably will read it again or read some of her other stuff once I get closer to actually having my own little youngins, which is not anytime soon, but also not the distant future. The other books that I read this month was I read the first two of the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I'm about halfway through book number 3, and this was part of a book club that I'm doing with some girlfriends of mine. This is about a gal that lives in the world of humans and very, very powerful fairies that are also sexy and rich and have magic. And she has to live with the fairies to pay off this debt, and of course falls in love and all that good stuff. What I like about this series is that there are just a lot of different points that I haven't seen or heard from other kind of fantasy or just media in general. We don't have to go through that our main female lead thinks that she's ugly. She doesn't need like a man's approval to tell her that she's beautiful. And as the books progress, I like them a lot more, and I definitely don't want to bring out more plot points about it, but I just like how different it is from the other books that I've read, or romance books or fantasy books. Speaking of book club, going into just some more random favorites. For book club, we went to this bar in Ballard called Tin Goods Apothecary, and my goodness, I did not film enough in my weekly vlog to just show how cute and beautiful this was. We sat in a yurt outside that I felt was super warm and really just beautiful with the twinkly lights, and I love twinkly lights. I got a delicious cocktail that had matcha infused sake, lavender, peach. Like, it was such a delicious cocktail, but I loved the ambiance there. The inside had just these beautiful furniture in this dark room, and the yurts outside were just super cute. I talked about this in my weekly vlog, but this month we also went to the Burke Museum, which is a 3-story museum in the University District of Seattle that's all about natural history. That has 3 floors. The first floor being about Native American history and artifacts, second floor being about animals, and then the third floor is dinosaurs and a little bit about sustainability. I found it just so informative. There was so much to look at. We spent about an hour and a half there, and we definitely could have spent a lot longer time if our feet just weren't hurting. Which has been nice, because I feel like the last couple of museums that I've been to have been really, really short, especially for the price that they're charging, but there was so much information here and a lot of just really cool stuff to look at. I would definitely recommend it. Also, they're one of the museums that every first Thursday of the month, they are free. So definitely start putting that on your calendar if you're in Seattle. First Thursday of each month is free museum day for a lot of the popular museums in Seattle. And to just wrap it up with two kind of random-y things, but I've gotten into a really good routine in my morning of doing my morning pages, which is just some morning journaling, and it's very free form. The traditional way to do morning pages is to write out 3 pages of anything, whatever you want, and it's the idea of just getting out everything that you have in your brain and putting it to paper. I use it as that, but also as a little bit kind of like a diary or just like a tracker of my health or, you know, my mood, you know, just writing down things that I feel like are important. I really enjoy this because I feel like I have kind of emptied out my brain and it's not recycling all of those thoughts over and over and over again. It's also kind of helped clear out and help me organize some of my ideas or things that I really want to focus on. I feel it has just been a very clearing task, and I notice that when I don't do it or when I only write like a paragraph, I just don't feel as, I don't know, on my track, you know? Organized as well. So I've really gotten in the habit of doing that almost every day. And lastly, I've kind of fallen in love with Pinterest. I've never been like a big Pinteresty person. I didn't really understand it for the longest time. I used it a bit for my wedding, and right now I've really fallen in love with using Pinterest for recipes and for fashion. I've gotten super inspired for some spring fashion once we hit March and a little bit of the warmer months, but I've been collecting some pins of some fashion ideas I want for springtime, and I've really been loving looking at new recipes and collecting recipes off of Pinterest. I really just like how girly my feed is. It feels like just some nice feminine energy. And if you're on Pinterest, I'd love to know what things and categories you are searching for or looking on Pinterest, because I'd like to just widen my, the main feed, you know? And that's gonna be my January favorites. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'd love to know what products, books, films, random things that you've been loving in January. I'd love to hear those down below. Let's chat in the comments. I wanna say thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.